Hello everyone, welcome back to Durbanites FPL GW27 review, gameweek 28 preview. Just 11 game weeks left in the season, so everything's getting really hot. Let's start at the table. So not much change at the top, but the margins are getting tighter and tighter as the week go. Just 14 now away between first and second, and then a lot of close competition there. Third and fourth super close, fifth and sixth even close. Then looking at seventh also challenging, and then 8, 9, and 10 just a couple of points between these. So everyone's fighting it out with 11 weeks to go. Let's have a look here at the differences. Let's look at the player selection. So starting with the staples, Bukayo Saka and Ollie Watkins now owned by 10 out of 10 managers. So hitting the 100%, the only players to do that since Erling Haaland in the early stages of the week, and then Kieran Trippier came close, but I don't think he ever got there. Then look at Saliba and Haaland making his way back now with a good return to form. At Alphonso Areola at 7 out of 10, and Kieran Trippier 6 out of 10 managers still holding on to him. But you can see that the staples list is shrinking, which means there's a lot of opportunity for differentiators. Looking at that for the last week, Fabian Schär 10% of the managers, so 1 out of 10 having him. Ben White 2 out of 10, both of them scoring in the double figures last week. As did Rodrigo Munoz, just 2 out of 10 had him. And then Kevin Kelleher, so the Liverpool backup keeper, and 3 out of 10 scoring 9 points last week. He's been doing really well in Alisson's absence. And then Phil Foden was, of course, the biggest player last week, but 4 out of 10 managers having the benefit of him on their team. Now, looking at the hits and misses for last week, quite a few hits here. So the iron wall call out, 30 plus points out of the back line for Fatih, Hassan, Mubs, and Zaks. Really well done. But then the front line also performing 30 plus points for Mubs again, Zai, and myself. Really good with those strikers, and Watkins and Haaland up front. Really doing well with that partnership. And then Mubs getting a call out for hitting 108 points, a good use of his bench boost this week, taking him off the bottom right up to 8th place in the table. Now looking at the misses, even with all of that, we had a hot bench. Ami and Zai picking up the hot bench for this week, 20 plus points sitting on the bench, mainly with Areola also sitting on the bench there as a goalkeeper, and or having a backup keeper that made a lot of points. But all in all, it was a good week for everyone all around. Now let's look at the best possible selection for our team. A lot of big points there. Areola at the back with 13. Then looking at Schär and White, both of them double figures. And Burn and Bradley made each and really well placed in terms of cost as well. Then looking at the middle again, Saka starting again this week, as did Pascal Gross, and then Gordon making his way back, and then Foden, of course, putting everyone away with his 15 points this week. And then Munoz and Watkins being the super strikers up front. And then looking at the back here, you have Kelleher, Saliba, Son, and Semenyo on the bench. Now this selection would have got you a massive 130 points, 159 with the bench boost at a very gettable cost of 90.8. So something to look forward to. Maybe a way to structure your team if you still have your wild card available. Now, as we get into the fixture rating, things are going to look a bit like it's a Freaky Friday, because things are switching around, and you look at teams that we are asking you to focus on this week that you don't usually see. Fulham, Bournemouth, Luton, Sheffield United. But if you look at the fixtures coming up, very importantly, Fulham and Luton playing in game week 29 when other teams are not playing. Only 8 teams are participating in that week, and not all of those fixtures are very winnable. But Bournemouth with a very big double game week this week, as well as Luton. So definitely looking at players from there. And then looking at the alternate side, equally strange to see Liverpool and Manchester City on the do not recommend list. Reason for that is Man City have a blank game week in 29, as to Liverpool. They verse each other this week, and then City have Arsenal on the end of that blank game week. That is a very tough schedule coming up for City. For those that have Haaland, Foden, De Bruyne, of course these guys can score, but it is not a guaranteed win or not a very easily winnable game. So again, at your own risk, of course, this is where the differentiation takes place. Brentford have some tough games coming up, but they will soon have an easier run towards the end of the season. Maybe a good chance to look at the players like Ivan Toney at that stage, and then hopefully Brian Mbeumo making his way back before the season ends, and that could be a great end to the Brentford season. And West Ham, a good fixture coming up against Burnley should be winnable, but then Aston Villa, Newcastle as they head into some tricky fixtures in the next few weeks. Now, based on that, let's look at the players. Now, looking at the goalkeepers out, of course, Pope and Allison, both of them have been injured and are going to remain out. But David Raya is club blocked by Arsenal, so Arsenal taking on Brentford this week, and Raya cannot play in this fixture. So they'll be looking at a backup keeper there, one to look out for. Looking at the defenders as well, Alexander Arnold is still out. Konate from Liverpool is doubtful. It's going to be tough for them. Zinchenko still doubtful for Arsenal. Maguire is out from United. Trippier, the key man at Newcastle, as they take on Chelsea this weekend, and he's out. And unfortunately, Marcus Senesi, who we recommended last week for the Bournemouth double week, is out, so he will not be playing. Now, looking at the picks to go to, you want to look at Neto in the nets for Bournemouth, because he's got a double game week and he's fairly handy. And of course, Alphonse Areola, he has been a star. He's currently the top goalkeeper in the Fantasy Premier League, so definitely one to keep an eye on. Now, looking at the defense, you've got to look at Arsenal. They have kept clean sheets and have been rocking in the goals, and especially Saliba and Gabriel have been really, really good at getting those goals in from set pieces. And then you've got Jakub Kwiatkowski, who's also doing really, really well. Had an assist in the last game out as well. Arsenal have 3 of the top defenders, if you also include in here Ben White. So 3 of the top 5 defenders in the Fantasy Premier League this season are from Arsenal, and they are scoring goals, so definitely wants to watch out for. Joachim Andersen, this is a good game week for Crystal Palace coming up, and a good run coming up, so definitely want to look for. And for the double game week, calling out Doty here from Luton. Definitely with 2 games, I've seen him play in the game against Manchester United. He's a really quality attacking back. Does take those runs forward, is not afraid to try his shot as well, and he's got a bit of a venomous shot. So definitely one worth looking at for that back line. Now, looking at the midfielders, this makes for some sad reading. So Brian Mbeumo still remains out, as is Michael Olise, Kaoru Matoma, Diogo Jota, He-Chan now not available for Wolves as well. That's going to be a hit. Richarlison, unfortunately, after his great form, is not going to be available for Spurs. Saka has an illness, no details yet, but he might be doubtful to play for Arsenal, as is Gabriel Martinelli after his great form is doubtful after picking up a gash on his knee. And then Jordan Ayew, who's been doing really well for Crystal Palace, also doubtful, but they might not be able to afford to rest him. So still worthwhile to call him out, as we do with the picks. So looking at the picks as well, you'll notice that there are no Liverpool and Manchester City players here again, guys. The main reason for doing that is I don't recommend them because it's a very tough game. Although anyone could star, anyone could score, so good luck for those that are taking them on. I'm going for more those that would, at least here in these videos, ones that maybe will score a lot more. So looking at Douglas Luiz, playing for Villa this week, he's had some good form recently. Gross and Adingra for Brighton. Bowen and Ward-Prowse for West Ham, and I've removed Kudus from this list because he's not been in the same form as he was before going into the AFCON. And then of course Arsenal again. Arsenal are the top scoring team in the Premier League this year, and that's without their strikers being in the top 20. So Saka, Havertz, Rice, Martinelli, these are good options, as well as Odegaard. So there's quite a few options for you to choose from the Arsenal bench, and they have a fairly winnable game against Brentford this week. Jordan Ayew is still there, even though he's doubtful. Anthony Gordon and Cole Palmer are going to go head to head this week, so I didn't want to leave these two out. Exciting younger players, both of them really carrying the weight for their teams this season. It's going to be a good clash, and so you might want to chance them on this one. Then Marcus Tavernier for Bournemouth and Justin Kluivert, both of them of course having the double game week this week, both of them quite capable of scoring. Kluivert's just recently been in a good run of form as well. And then Ross Barkley, who for Luton has really started lifting the season up. Luton are now back into the bottom 3, looking to break out from there. This double game week might be their chance to do that. So that's the call out for midfield. And then forwards is even sadder to read, a lot of injuries on the front line. So Manchester United still missing Rasmus Højlund until the end of March. Callum Wilson is still out. Chris Wood and Raul, both of them are doubtful, might play, but they are lacking match fitness after the injury. So it is doubtful whether they will start or get any time on the field. Cunha still out for Wolves. That is a shame. He was on stunning form. Same for João Pedro, also was in great nick when he picked up an injury. And Dominic Solanke has been put on the field. If you look in the Fantasy Premier League, it looks like he's good and ready to play. However, with the manager's update, Edriola said that he still has a knock to his knee, so he might have limited minutes. So that's one to just watch out for if you're looking at a captain option. Now the picks are super slim this week, mainly because again, Liverpool versus Manchester City, that is a big game and not really much to call out. And then if you look at the injury list, then you're looking at taking out Newcastle, Manchester United, Fulham, Wolves, Brighton. A lot of players, key players missing, and of course Arsenal strikers, not one of them in the top 20 strikers in the Fantasy Premier League this season, so I'm not recommending them.16 Ollie Watkins is in stunning form, more goal involvements than Erling Haaland this season. Now sitting with 16 goals and 15 assists, so 31 goal involvements already this season. He's having a blinder, well worth looking at. Then of course Dominic Solanke, if he plays, he has a good chance in this double game week of scoring a few. And then Carlton Morris, who is currently the on-form striker, is currently on the same form as Erling Haaland in the last 5 matches. He's scoring at will. He's got 2 good games against teams that do concede goals and might even be considered for a captaincy in the Fantasy Premier League this season. So it's going to be an interesting game week, especially with the shadow of the big blank game week coming up in game week 29. So time for you to make some smart transfers and kind of look ahead to 2 weeks here, and then look at how we can come out on the other end of game week 29 with the best possible setup. So that's all we have for this week. Hope you enjoyed the video. Good luck with the games, and we'll come back with the review at the end of the game week. So long for now.